Kontynuujemy sobie nasz podbój Dzikiego Zachodu, ale na dzisiaj jestem troszkę lepiej przygotowany. I tak wyposażeni możemy jechać dalej. Znajdź wejście do kopalni. Dobrze. Z tym pewnie żadnego problemu nie będzie. Pytanie, kto na nas czyha za najbliższym zakrętem. Na razie jakby spokój, nie? Snajper. Ale ogarnięte.
I knew that dynamite wasn't mine, so I decided the polite thing would be to return it. It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to those riches. There were thieves, killers,
Sprawnie, ale jakby...
travelers, and hijacking gold ships. Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town.
Uważaj, jest też dużo tych wybuchowych beczek. Może dla pewności lepiej będzie tutaj trochę poczyścić. Okej, następny leci. Że uda nam się jakoś prześliznąć. Hop. Okej.
I thought I was some kind of hero. I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out. I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way.
Okej. A miał za tak blisko, miał mnie na muszce, nie? Ale nie pykło.
Once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it. Some of those shafts could be as deep as hell. A
Okej.
single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion.
Weźmy ammo i lecimy dalej. Powinniśmy nikogo? Chyba nie. No to go.
Reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself. All it takes is
Byłem
one
przekonany,
tiny
że ja
spark.
trafiłem w głowę, ale może faktycznie gość. No dałem się zagonić w kozi róg.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad blasted tube.
Ach, tunel się zapada. Dobra, uciekamy. Szybko.
My plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane. It's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it.
What?
Instead, I spotted a ladder.
To się nie mogło udać.
Way into the mine from the opposite side.
To jest właśnie motyw, o którym opowiadałem. Bardzo fajna rzecz.
It was a long way around,
Jednak
but
Silas
that
był
approach
mądrzejszy.
seemed more sensible at the time. Of
Nie
course,
leciał tak na
being
chama.
I had a problem with heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. Climbing down that ladder required some caution. Because even though I had a younger man's reflexes, no man can dodge a damn bullet while climbing down a rickety ladder. I was determined not to give up, however. As Sheriff Plummer seemed quite the despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water. But first, I would have to make a choice. Take the elevator or climb the ladder.
No weźmy poważnie, drabina. Inne na pewno się spodziewają.
I wanted to use the element of surprise. Plus, I figured I could use the exercise. I was warmed up already, so what the hell? Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserved better.
Nevada City? Well, I thought Plummer met his maker in Bannock, Montana.
Whoop.
Right, well, he was the sheriff of both places one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own.
No dobra. Czas na szefa chyba. Szeryf. Bandzior. Kawał łotra. Henry Plummer. No i go.
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was going to take some.
Op. Pomoc. Kiepskie miejsce, żeby się bronić, nie? Mają nas jak na widelcu. Gdzie on jest? Okej. Gdzie szef? Gdzie szef? Jest.
That's how Henry Plummer died. Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold. And now, I was officially a bounty hunter.
Celność 26%. Genialnie.
So,
did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word he was in Kansas with John Wesley Hardin. So that's where I went.
Where in Kansas?
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Was Hardin as fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, but John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
Czyżby od razu pojedynek, czy jeszcze jakiś poziom?
He killed his first man at 15. From that day forward, he had a price on his head and wouldn't back down for nobody, not even Wild Bill Hickok himself.
No dobra.
I dodged death many a
No,
time.
jednak jeszcze
That night in
strzelanina.
Abilene was no different.
No co to za zmiana broni? Halo? Quick shootery jakieś
I
teraz
was
chyba.
there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wesley.
Jednak było jeszcze strzałówce.
Texas Rangers got Hardin.
Ale zaraz sobie może pobiegniemy
That's what they
i
want you
będzie
to
luz.
believe. It was colder than a witch's tit in a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres
Trupów.
to the very same saloon we're sitting in today. Look around and imagine this place painted in blood.
No i chyba pojedynek.
Hardin was waiting for me, and wait, I'm jumping the gun here. Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men, fathers and husbands, brothers and sons,
Większy damage te
men with
rangery, nie?
families who cared about them.
A to jeszcze chyba inni wcześniej
He
mieli.
was a
Ale
bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs. He and his men set up camp outside of town. I was hoping Bob was among them.
Shoot that son of a bitch!
They didn't ask why I was there. They knew. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was carousing in town with his closest friends. Hardin's boys apparently
te
didn't want
rangery
me
są
to reach
świetne.
the
To
bull's
mi
head.
się podoba.
Some were hightailing it into town to inform their jefe of my unwelcome presence. I wondered
Jakby
if
trochę na
Bob
celności w
was
ruchu tracą, albo mi się wydaje. Ale jeżeli chodzi o obrażenia, fajna sprawa. Fajna bardzo sprawa.
And I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better. Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers.
Okej. A to ta sama misja, tylko
Most of
chwilę
these
wcześniej.
degenerates were beyond redemption,
Okej.
but John Wesley might have been a different story. I didn't learn until later that that night was in
Cofnijmy
fact
sobie na
a
moment.
birthday celebration.
I okej. Dobra,
I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon.
okej. A, teraz jeszcze są w środku.
Nobody
Wtedy byli już wybici. Niezłe, niezłe.
I felt a certain hostility. I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived. as a moment later I was facing
No
down the
dobra.
fastest gun
Pytanie,
in
czy
the
kolejny
West.
pojedynek uda się za pierwszym razem? Czy może niekoniecznie? Co pamiętam, to on jakoś oszukiwał. Czy to strzelanie? Urodzony morderca zabił człowieka za chrapanie i 40 kolejnych za oddychanie. John Wesley Hardin.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Co jest?
No wait, he didn't hit me then.
Dlaczego,
I'm
przepraszam,
sure of it.
przy takim skupieniu... Prawie fulla chyba miałem, nie? Dlaczego to się okazało takim problemem? Czy ja coś przeoczyłem? No zobaczcie.
That man was faster than grease lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
So he didn't die?
I
Co?
sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger
Aha,
took his
czy
life.
tego się nie dało tak
Shot him in
normalnie
the
zagrać.
back in a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer?
Czuję się oszukany. Gro. Let's go.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, some say revenge is a dish best served cold.
So whatever happened to that Bob guy you were after?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know, did you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Yes, I did, Ben. I remember once I was after this renegade Apache, Grey Wolf. Strangely enough, revenge was also his primary motivation.
Tańczący z renegatami Cyrus Greaves. Zapisem misji, że być może są to jego wymysły,
Bounty was
a
put on
nieprawda.
Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains. Mountains so high they tickle the nether regions of heaven. Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution and were more than willing to die for him.
Wiem, jak tak jest, trzeba iść przez mostek.
They saw me before I saw them. And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
Coś się wkopałem, nie? Jezu, straszny odcinek, ciągle padam. Tak nie może być. Ogarnij się, starcze. Ogarnij się.
They saw me before I saw them.
Tutaj się zaczęli. To wiele wyjaśniał.
It crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down.
Okej. Dobra, no spokojnie.
It was rugged
Wszystko jest
country,
do
the winter home of the
ogarnięcia.
Chiricahuas. And that's why they
Tylko
have
bez
retreated.
szarżowania.
I admit to having some regrets about going after it the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Już tak ostatkiem sił chyba.
Did you find Grey Wolf? Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
Okej.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
Don't tell me you went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness. See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide.
Skończy się
I
amunicja w
wasn't
rewolwerach.
about to back down.
So it was
Przerzucimy się
pitch
na
black
karabin.
in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the
Ale
wall.
to za chwilkę. No dobra. Jak z rewolwerem czuję się szczerze mówiąc pewniej, więc może. Ale zes.
How big was his cave?
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars.
Weź. Okej.
They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
Pójdziemy sobie może górą, wydaje się delikatnie bezpieczniejszą drogą. Ale oczywiście tylko delikatnie. Dobra, są rewolwery. Możemy lecieć.
How come you know so much about engines?
A few years back, I was married to two Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him into the Cave of Death. I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows, and I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. as his story unfolded in my mind.
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul will have no rain, the eye have no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until the venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
Coś jeszcze. Nie koniec zasadzki. Ale się dawno z shootery nie gra. Ja mam takiego zeza. Aż wstyd.
But suddenly, one just appeared, kind of like a miracle.
Lecimy.
I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, but I am relating exactly what happened. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from our side.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
Kulek jeszcze ci mało?
Well, more than that, little lady.
Jak dureń się dałem. Ty skąd?
And scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me.
O, kolejne świetne
Wouldn't
miejsce.
you know it? That crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trick?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches around it.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them. In the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before. I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air. Never did find him. And never did collect my goddamn bounty. Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand. Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of the right?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
Te miejskie poziomy chyba trochę bardziej do mnie przemawiają. Takie mam odczucie przynajmniej. Gdzie? To jest ciekawe, bo w RPG-ach na przykład miast nie lubię. Wolę dzicz. Tutaj troszkę na odwrót.
One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob two banks at the same time. Two banks on the same damn street. Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took
Powinno być
up
taki
arms to
shooter dla
defend
mnie,
their
będziemy
property.
zmieniali na inną broń. Okej.
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months, and now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The
Dostać
marshals
się do
tried to get the
banku.
Daltons to
Którędy?
surrender.
They'll give up eventually. You just gotta wait for some bitches.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far
Którędy
too
mogę stąd
proud to
zejść?
ever lay down their
Panowie,
guns.
którędy? Brawi. Na razie strzelamy. Dobrze.
You went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, what do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country. Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free. Jim Booth, Davy Crockett,
Silas Green?
died defending the
Son of a bitch!
No, znowu na CQB. Takie obrzynki to jest miód.
Over there!
Źle wcisnąłem, ale byłem szybszy.
Silas Green! What the hell?
came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons.
Też dobra akcja.
His name?
A jaka będzie wersja Siglasa?
And when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened. It was early evening, not high noon. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
Niebezpieczny, nieustraszony. Nieduży. Bracia Dalton.
I'd been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. There he is. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. They still had friends in Coffeeville. Boy, you are get out of luck. Hey, you got us a hero.
Wow.
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild
Nie widziałem.
dogs.
Okej, wcisnąć.
They were coming at me from all directions.
Ledwo. Ale się udało. Tu te obrzyny się nie sprawdziły.
I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose it. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. To top it off, I found
Ewidentnie.
myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons. They were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those 2 families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the
Zdecydowanie.
Smiths, pissing off the Hoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeeville that day. The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The 3rd brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Okej, udało się przeżyć. Lecimy dalej.
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Reed. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't
Masz łykać. Uj, ja się nie spodziewałem. Nie bardzo jest gdzie uciekać, kurde.
I'm gonna plant you where you stand. You ain't getting by me, Reed. Cut you in half.
Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeeville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him? But I have to admit, that boy had grit.
We'll get the
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this!
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
No dobra. I dobijaniem Daltonów zajmiemy się już w kolejnym odcinku. Tymczasem
As we
arrivederci.
headed into those swamps,